Hello, welcome to Occupy the Land, occupytheland.org. Today is September 12th, 2025, and it's just a couple of days after the Charlie Kirk assassination. And a lot of you know that I'm a talk show host and the publisher of a news portal, freedomsphoenix.com. And you can hear me on Declare Your Independence with ErnestHancock.com. The reason that we did Occupy the Land was the progression of an awareness and understanding of what has happened to this country, what was coming, what we needed to prepare for, what we can do for the preservation of freedoms for generation next. And one of the most peaceful solutions that you have is just have your own property, get as far away from negative influences, and build. This was something that was very important to me and my wife for the future of our family. We're probably not our later stage or last third of life, or however long we got here, it's beneficial for our health, for our well-being, to be out here working the land and knowing that our children and grandchildren are going to be able to make use of it. Now, what they do with it, I'm sure there's going to be one grandkid, at least is going to do something. But that was really not the point. The point was inspiration for them and for all of the other people that are supportive of a government that supports individual rights, your property rights, that it's there for the right reasons, that the whole purpose of government was defense of your individual rights. If it doesn't do that, it's time to alter or abolish. It's your right, your duty. That's why my show is called Declare Your Independence. Freedom's Phoenix, the whole point was, from the ashes of Lady Liberty's torch, freedom's rebirth, freedom's phoenix. This is, but, there's going to come ashes. Well, there's coming ashes. Now, we saw this during COVID and so on. My wife and I, we sold everything. We got on an MCI bus that we customized, and we put a studio in, and we traveled cross country for years, from early 2020 until just a year and a half ago when we purchased this property. So all of the land around the country, there's a lot of great places to move, but our family was here. And my wife from Pennsylvania, they're not having any snow. So she liked the desert. I love the desert. It's great. I for a lot of reasons we enjoy it here. So we're focusing on building techniques using the local material available, the sand, the gravel, the wash sand, the rock, the adobe, the clay, and the different things that we can do here. Now, you'll see some graphics that has, we made selection. We're at the stage now that we're starting to put in the electrical boxes. What kind of outlets? Do they have USB? Do they get little night lights? How many outlets, where they're going to go, that kind of, so we get to customize in what we want to do and the lighting and everything. And we're at that stage that we got to start worrying about lighting and the wiring and so on. So we'll take you with that. We, the workshop that we had, which really was a community pad that we have our barbecue and pizza oven and outdoor kitchen and, fireplace and that kind of thing, is the 30-foot pad that we did and put the dome on for a workshop. We had a temporary covering on it. Well, the wind just beats the crap out of it out here. So that's why we got the shipping container. We need to be able to have it more weather resistant because the freaking winds out here are amazing. Well, that is what we're working on. You'll see a little bit of graphic of that. I'm just now starting to refurb that out and getting shelving. We're moving the workshop into there and turning that into a thing. And we're going to be doing a concrete pad out in front of it, and the storage area between the storage trailer and the shipping container. We'll spend some time on that. But this week we got distracted, and we had to do, because, we had the radio show and the news site, the Charlie Kirk assassination. I just want to say really quick, my concern is Charlie Kirk took on the responsibility, because few others were, certainly addressing Generation Next, that they understand what this battle really is about and what their role in it is and their future. And we were very supportive of his work and the style that he had in open debate, free speech. This is a mile marker in American history, in human history. You have like JFK assassinations, RFK, MLK, Charlie Kirk. But it's in the era of social media. And it's going to be thousands and thousands of hours of him that, is going to be shared. But to what end? The one thing that we're emphasizing is we wanted to make sure that people understood that this whole thing is about individual rights, the future of this country, about the ability to be American. And the ingenuity, the freedom to use your hands, your liberty to create, your property out of raw material and to sustain your life. That's what Occupy is all about. We have a video, probably several videos back, why occupy the land. That's probably, you want to go get the why, just go watch that and you'll get the why. Now, we're out here, next to where I can find some shade where the railroad ties are going to be using for fencing. That's why I'm sitting here. But we were distracted over the last few days. We didn't get to do a lot of the video that we had planned, but it was because we had an obligation to cover a lot of this for our readers and listeners and so on. But you have to understand, occupytheland.org is one of the primary solutions that I see, that we take responsibility for our own happenstance, our pursuit of happiness, our circumstances. This has been a lifelong thing, our adult lives, since our children were very small, toddlers. And this is since the late 80s. I mean, it's been a thing that has culminated into the realization that we can't delegate our authority over our own lives and that of our family and our community to someone else. That's what Charlie Kirk did. He had, 17 years old. He's getting involved. He didn't graduate college. He's reading a lot. He learned philosophy and economics and understanding of what's up. And he had a faith in God. Accepted Jesus Christ as his Savior. And we're going to, expand on the responsibilities that you have as a human being and oftentimes a man and a woman, which is what? Perpetuate the species, go forth and multiply, have children. All this is under attack. So my concern and how I expressed myself and us talking about this yesterday on the radio show is that I feel responsible. We are to blame for Charlie Kirk even having to do it because we weren't doing it. Is there going to be a Charlie Kirk replacement? I don't even advocate for that. We should be the replacement. The people should be the replacement. The fact that he even had to do it was because we weren't. We need to advocate strongly for our beliefs and our desire for leave me aloneism, the proper role of government, how we are to maintain and enhance our freedom. Because I always go T3, they, them, those, the ones that won't leave us alone. If we don't do it, they'll do it for themselves. They'll exploit you, your property, your land, your freedom. To what end? Not yours. Occupy the Land is an inspirational effort by my wife and I to demonstrate that two old people out in the middle of the desert can sustain their life and be able to build and pass on to generation next. Now, we'll probably have help and do it, but that's what tractors for. And I just wanted you to understand that we'll get back to the build and we'll show you the progress, here over the next week. But this week, a lot of our time was, taking care of a lot of our other responsibilities for our audience and so on. But I'm telling you, this is exactly what we have been planning for and thinking about for a long time. From the ashes, freedom's phoenix. The rebirth of freedom is happening, and it should be happening on your land. Occupy the land. It's one of the most peaceful solutions I can think of. Peace.
So what we have on the agenda today is to move a bunch of things that we've had sitting around the property. We've had them sitting on pallets and covered with some tarps, but it's time to move them over to the shipping container area so we can start organizing all of these materials. So we just kind of want to clean it up a little bit. So with all the non-weather we've had lately, it brings a lot of wind with no rain. And so the solar panels get covered with all this dust. So today we got to hose those off.
This was our first check dam that we did and backed up the water. And there's one tree here that we trimmed back quite a bit, and you know, some other small trees and so on. But this has really been getting green. You know, we've taken, you know, some extra cement that we have when we're doing stuff. We'll come over here and just pour it on and start building. We'll get this all curved up and pretty. But the fact that we were able to back this up and it saturate into the ground, and you'll see out here doing some work, and the augered holes were flattening the ground so that when it floods someday, it'll go down into there. But this is demonstrative of what we're talking about. And this has only been a year. And I'm telling you, man, it is just green and thick and lush. You know, for desert plants, they like it. So you slow down the water, saturate the soil, and you can start getting trees. We're going to start planting more trees, you know, in preparation for this. But you can see just how thick it gets, even in the desert. And it hadn't rained for like never. It's been a couple of drizzles. We had one good rain in the last year, year and a half. Not enough. But careful what you ask for, because when it does, it does. Well, Donna and I are working on the shipping container, and we're starting to frame it out and so on. We got a bunch of our stuff out of storage here, or redoing the workshop so that we can get out of the wind. This is the wiring that we have. We're getting ready to go through that part, you know, different boxes and sizes. And, you know, Donna saw these outlets, because we can do whatever we want, so we're going to do what we want. We have outlets that will have USB charging and so on, and with C and regular USB. She wanted to have dimming switches for the lighting and so on. And a lot of these have lights, you know, that is like night lights, and you can turn them on and off so that you don't have to have lights on all the time. And we have, you know, different, you know, 4-gang and 3 and 2, and it's kind of complicated what we're going to be doing and testing for doing the floor plan on the dome. Now is what we're going to go do now, is go ahead, and originally we had painted out on the concrete where things were going. So we're going to redo that so we know exactly where the outlets go. And you getting what you wanted?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of fun to have all these choices and everything, because when we had a house before, I don't think any of this was available, or if it was, it wasn't real common. So I'm all about lighting and the mood and everything. So if we're going to do it, might as well put the money in and do it now.
And we're going to be putting in other smaller wires and so on, and running Cat6 cable for Ethernet, and a lot of things that we are testing out now for the home build. This dome that's going, over by where the bus is now, you can see way over there where the dome is. There is where we're building this, and we're going to go ahead and start doing the floor plan for that. We'll show you, from the beginning, what our plan is. Now, what we've been doing is, you see the truck over there. We have been really working on building up the house pad, and we're taking the soil from the sand pond over there to do it, and it goes over where you see the vehicle over there. It's a flat area that we keep raising up, and we're about a foot up now. We got another foot to go, so it's a bunch of getting soil, and we're just, I'm showing you a lot of that. You've seen video of us, taking the tractor, filling the dump trailer, and just a dumping. But, we're on it, and now we're going to go do the floor plan, so you kind of get an idea of what we're working on this first dome as a test. We'll be right back. Okay, now you see, this is on the right side, that door jamb is an outside door going into the utility room, the bathroom, laundry room that we added on. And we're at the point that we got to start putting in outlets and so on. Now this door here is 36 inches. The one going into the bathroom over there from the bedroom, that's 30, and then that one over there is 32, I think. So we're testing different sizes. Now here we have a 30-inch opening where the orange isn't there. That's as we walk into the dome. Immediately we can go in, and we'll have like a barn sliding door from the inside going into the bedroom. Then we have the bedroom here, and the queen size bed only goes, it's not that much. We got a lot of area between that and the wall. And what we're doing here is this blue light, that's where the refrigerator goes. And we'll have like a rounded countertop here, put keys and everything. On the other side of the refrigerator will be where the microwave be, and the counter and so on. Then we'll have an eating area over here, bench, stools, that kind of stuff. And then a counter that goes all the way around here where the sink will go, and then we'll have the range and so on. Microwave will go up here over by the refrigerator where it's at. Now we're going to use our old refrigerator that we had in our other home, and it's 36 inches wide, and it'd be like 32 inches deep. It's, pretty big. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't get cramped in here like we are on the bus. And coming out like 26 inches is about as far as you want to go on a counter. And we'll have a big sink and the range, a lot of counter space. What's going to be interesting is how we do the dining, sitting, area, if we put a TV in here or not. Now, in the bedrooms, I go through the wall, the TV will go up here in a wall. Now, what that does, this wall that goes across here, that will allow for a loft. So we're going to have high ceilings when that dome goes on this. Now, it looks like we're probably going to go at least above the windowsill, and so that we could have the flat wall that we want for, well, we don't really need to. We may go to the bottom of the windowsill. That's one we don't know yet. How high we'll go up with these earth bags before we start putting on the dome. Now, this is where the, let's go ahead and do this. We'll walk in. We go in here, and this will be the laundry room, and everything's kind of going to be over here. Then you see all the draining and the plumbing and so on over there. That's where the bathroom will be. So this, we're getting to it. There's a bunch of other stuff that we're doing. We're still prepping the house pad over here from the soil from the sand dam, but we got to get back on this because we're waiting on all the electrical our outlets and switches and wiring and everything to come in. So now we got to kind of lay it out so we know where to put the light switches and so on. So that's what we're doing now. We'll have a lot more by next week. Peace.